You're watching Soul Seekers TV.
Hi, and welcome to Soul Seekers TV. I'm Linda Krause-Barnett.
And I'm Patricia Rivera-Wolfson. And today, we want to introduce you to a couple of cool people that I met. And they are not, unlike our other guests that we have on this show, they are not really connected to the healing arts. They're not healers or coaches. Well, I don't know if I would say they're not coaches, but they're not coaches in the traditional sense that we have had on the show up until now. Takhar and Laura Stewart are actually real estate moguls. I'll even call him a real estate mogul. He might enjoy that title. But he really is an amazing, Jas specifically they have a very successful real estate business. He has a vlog where he teaches people. He started teaching people about real estate, and then it kind of went into being a great leader, so leadership and motivation, and really about how to improve your life in general. And it was an interesting conversation because it's not always the typical route that you take to healing or soul seeking. Sometimes soul seeking is really just about doing your passion. Don't you think?
Absolutely. And I think that we don't have to confine and define what that means, because it can mean anything, and it means different things to different people.
That's right, and it was a really great conversation because when originally I went to go meet with them, I spoke to my friend Clem, who set up the interview, and I was like, I'm not quite sure what to talk to them about because they're not in the healing arts, but at the end of the day...
How will my mansion be purchased?
Well, that conversation will happen one day for sure. But once I got into talking to them about their perspective and what they're passionate about and what soul seeking means to them.
And you really think about it, like, to be good at what you do implies that there's a passion fueling, because that's the easiest, in my definition, the easiest and best way to really be great at something is to love it.
Absolutely. And soul seeking isn't always about just sitting on a mountaintop with a yoga pose or, grounding yourself.
Thank goodness, because I'm not good at either of those things.
But it really is about just following the breadcrumbs, pursuing your passions, and being led down a path that feels really good.
Yeah.
Whatever that means to you, without any judgment.
What does soul seeking mean to you?
To me, soul seeking means understanding who you are and what drives you. It means taking that information and investing yourself in pursuits that make you thrive, and maybe giving up the things that don't. It means knowing what is in your comfort zone and pushing yourself to take small steps outside of it to continue on a journey of lifelong growth in a meaningful direction.
Here's what I would like to put out into the world right now, is that when you find somebody who you share creativity with and you share passion with and you have ideas, and you create a reality out of those ideas, it's a truly beautiful thing to have this thought and to manifest it in life form. And that's what we're doing. We've been talking about this idea and now we're bringing it to life, and that whole process, which we're going to take you on, is super fun and super exciting, because we're just literally creating this baby of ours, and it's so much fun.
Really? It's just an excuse for us to hang out.
Hello, everyone. My name is Patricia Rivera-Wolfson. I am one of your hosts at Soul Seekers TV, and I have the wonderful pleasure of being here today in New York City with the co-hosts of the REC Experience in Canada, Jas and Laura.
Thank you for having us.
Yay, thank you
for being here. I'm so excited that we got to meet.
Yes.
Doesn't take us much to come to New York City.
Yes, I'm
So
very
true.
impressed that you
So
came here
true.
all the way just for our show.
Yes, we did. Thanks for having us again, Patricia. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming. So for my viewers, why don't you tell us a little bit about the RAC experience and what it is that you do?
Yeah, so we started a podcast about a year ago. It came from the fact that there's some content that we believe in Canada, and more specifically in the Greater Toronto area, that's missing from the perspective of real estate. And so we now have 3 seasons, about 60 episodes. And after about the first season, we decided to make a little shift and not only speak about real estate, because
Quite frankly, it was rather dry.
Yeah.
I mean, we love real estate.
Yeah.
Our clients love it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, week after week, podcasts about strictly real estate can get a little bit repetitive. Repetitive, I'll call it.
Well,
So
you can only talk about buying and selling a home and how to inspect your homes
and things like
get,
that.
and get a
And I
lawyer.
said, Jazz, what else do you love to talk about? Should we talk about sports? Because I know Jazz is a big sports guy. Like, what else can we do to provide value to our clients? And then that's when you came out and you were like, you know what? I do have other passions.
Yeah, which was entrepreneurship and leadership. And so now a lot of our listeners and our viewers, because we do have a big following on YouTube as well, get a chance to essentially be a fly in the wall with conversations that we have with guys and gals from a leadership perspective and an entrepreneurship perspective. We have a lot of fun with our guests when it comes to entrepreneurship and leadership.
It's honestly, I mean, I personally have only been selling real estate for 5 years, which is not a lot compared to this guy over here. But this is one of the most fun and exciting things that we do on a day to day. Obviously, we help people buy and sell real estate, but just the education and the value that we give. And obviously from a real estate perspective, but just just from the motivation and inspirational perspective, because we're running a small little operation here and we have a lot of value to give from that perspective, like when to bring on new people on your team and how to grow and when to grow and how to use social media. That's valuable also.
Yeah, and we should make mention that I have a business partner of a little over 10 years now, and so he builds out our team of realtors, which is about 25 realtors right across the Greater Toronto area, which is essentially about a 75 to 100 kilometer radius, which is about 70 miles or so.
I'm Canadian original.
I
so
know, just in case your viewers are from America and the rest of the world. And so, we're, again, like I mentioned, we're learning a lot about the ups and downs, the struggles when it comes to growing a business.
There is a lot more parallels to real estate and personal development than one might think on the surface. Because in real estate, you are helping people make a decision that is a really big decision.
Probably one of their biggest transactions of their entire lives, unless you're a person who's buying a yacht or a second place to live.
You are really helping people, come to terms with how they look at their life, how they look at their money, how they look at their investments, how they invest in themselves. So it's really, I love that you are expanding the conversation so that it's not just buying and selling, but it is about, leadership. And I love leadership in terms of leading in your own life.
To Jazz's credit, I mean, he speaks often about the fact that he has not a formal education, but a personal education, and one that he feels strongly to pass on to other people, which is, this entrepreneurial leadership perspective. You don't always learn those tools and those, mind concepts, so to speak, in school.
It definitely is a totally different mindset when you're looking at it from a personal development perspective. A lot of people think it's very easy to get into the business.
Anyone can just be a realtor. No, the average realtor is doing like what,
I would say about two to three deals a year, which essentially you can't make a living off of. But not everyone really has the self-awareness to say maybe or to look at something that that they're more passionate about, which would come easier to them. Because they think real estate is easy, because they see their friends driving in BMWs and Mercedes, they think that's the business to get into. But if they were to follow something that they're more passionate about, it would come easier. And the funny thing starts to happen. The money starts to follow wherever the passion is, right? I think a lot of people just make the mistake and try to chase the money, where I've come to learn that money doesn't work like that. It follows whoever brings the most value, and you'll generally bring more value when you're passionate about something.
Oh my goodness, I love that so much. We're so on the same page because, coming from a personal development perspective and what I'm passionate about, really, and an energetic perspective, because my my passion is, energy, and how it works is that money is energy.
Yeah.
So if you're using it, if you're seeking it out of a transaction basis, it doesn't have the same weight as if you are passionate about something and money sort of backing you up. Back to our relationship conversation, which is that everything is about relationships. And so your relationship to your money, relationship to your passion, relationship to your job. Exactly.
Relationship to yourself.
Well, that's
right?
the key.
And I have to chime in here. Jazz, I feel like, learned from a young age. He knew he wanted to be in sales. He was passionate about that. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then just kind of changed within the realm of sales. I've been all over the map. I started in nutrition, then I went to fashion, then I went back and did my MBA. I went back to school, and I got to admit, like, when you find something that you truly are passionate about, it's not necessarily the job, it's the tools that you're using and the work that you're doing, and that is what's relatable across many, many fields. You just have to find that thing that you really love and enjoy doing, and then it makes it easy. Like, people tell me, "Oh, Laura, you're working too much. You guys work way too hard." I'm like, work way too hard? I'm doing exactly what I'm loving to do. I go to work every single day, sometimes a little more tired than others, but on the average, I'm enjoying my life. I'm enjoying what I do. I enjoy going to work, and I don't even call it work. It's really, I'm creating something.
And it's like your hobby, right?
I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
I don't dread vacation.
Yeah.
I really enjoy vacation.
I'm with you on that.
So that might be telling in a way.
But that's what I'm saying, ladies. Like, I don't think anyone should be like me, or I don't have to be like yourselves. And I think we need to stop judging each other, though. I think that's a big issue. Like, to judge you, or to judge you to say, well, you should be like me. Stop going on vacation. And and on the flip side, for you to judge me and say, well, Jazz, you're working too hard, or you're a workaholic. Actually, I haven't worked in 15 years.
Soul seeking does not look the same for everyone. Soul seeking, in this case for you, it could be, really navigating your passion and manifesting your life the way you want to create the life you want it through your business. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I think it really is just having the confidence in yourself and knowing who you are, what makes you tick.
Yeah.
And if what makes you tick is saying, as a woman, I'm going to spend the next 6 years of my life staying home with my kids, and that makes me feel good. That's awesome. That's fine. Don't diminish that. And at the same time, if you're the type of woman that's like, 6 months, I'm back to work, and I'm talking about women because that's how I resonate, but like, then that's cool too. And for you, it's like, I want to work Saturdays. You work a lot of weekends, a lot of weekdays. Jazz works late. Simeon works late a lot of days, and that's cool too. Like, whatever makes you happy and want to get up out of the bed of the morning.
And I think you said the magic word, right? For me, anyways, is what makes you happy.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
When you're younger, it's like, what are you going to become? You like slicing the frog open in science class. You have to be a doctor. It's like, well, maybe there's another skill in that. Maybe I should be a chef. We think that we have to come up with these elaborate ideas of what our career is going to be. And I think what we need to look more at is the skill set that we like.
Yeah.
The skill set that we enjoy. I hope that people out there listening to your show, will see I have skills, and those skills might not lead me to this, that, and the other. I'm not going to be the typical lawyer, doctor, entrepreneur, but everyone has skills. Everyone has something that they're good at. And just double down on that.
For sure.
Really.
Very often, the pieces that we pick up along the way are the pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah.
And we may not see the whole puzzle. But eventually, when you bring them together, like your fashion or your business or, you know, your nutrition.
You know, I'm going to say it on your show now. I had struggles with eating and nutrition and being healthy, and I was very hard on myself, so to speak. And I thought that by going to school for nutrition, I would learn you eat by a regimen, and this is exactly the person that's going to make you healthy. And what I learned from it was the complete antithesis of that, and that got me past a hurdle in my life. And I'll never discount that. People say, well, you went to school for nutrition and now you're doing real estate. What a waste. That was never a waste. What I gained from that was very integral life moment for me. Right?
That was part of your personal evolution.
Yeah. We've all overcome things. You've overcome things. We've talked about, Jazz in school and teachers not accepting him or giving him any type of motivation. I was the complete opposite of that. I was the straight A student, but at the same time, I had just a fundamental lack of self-confidence in the real world. So in a confined system, an educational system, that was my safe place. But then you threw me out into the wolves and I got eaten alive.
If you're looking into being very successful in whatever it is, it could be the bartender who's behind the bar, the chef who's in the kitchen. Again, I always like to say the beautiful Clem's name behind the camera. In business, I think you need to actually be obsessed. Because when you really want to be good at something, you need to be obsessed, because if you're not, then chances are there's probably another passion that is awaiting you, because you're probably, whatever you're supposed to do, you will be obsessed about it, and then you do everything in your power on a daily basis to practice it.
As we wrap up, I would like to know, what does soul seeking mean to you?
Soul seeking for me in the last, I'll say 2 years, having been a part of REC, the way my life has come about, some of the struggles that we've experienced in the last 2 years, I would say pride in the process. That to me is soul seeking. Just realizing that the worst and the shittiest times, for lack of a better word, are really the opportunities for the most growth. And I've had such a blessed life previous to recently, quite frankly, that I didn't know how important those struggles really were in life. And now I'm looking back on my childhood and my teen years and realizing, like, all those little things that seem so bad, they're what shape you. And I think that is what I'll try to take going forward. And I hope that when I'm 90, 100, 120 years old, and I look back on what I've sought, that will be something I've gained.
Awesome. Great.
Beat that.
It's not a competition.
Laura's very competitive.
Yeah, I got that with the straight A student.
Yeah, I know. Once you find your passion, I think that's where you're going to be the happiest. And to me, that's what really I'm seeking, is happiness. I think that's what soul seeking is to me.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome.
We've enjoyed it probably more. We could go on forever.
Awesome. Thanks, girl.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Jeez,
Great job.
You are a natural, by the way.
Awesome,
You should
girl.
legit be like you're this. No, like a interviewer.
For so long, I judged my trajectory because it wasn't traditionally linear. So I didn't have one job, graduate from college, got a job, and stayed at that job forever. That wasn't my track. I spent a decade working in the major motion picture industry, and then I spent over a decade as an educator. So it would seem as if I had kind of wasted time. Like, they don't. How do you combine those two? But actually, being in the motion picture industry 100% made me a better educator. I was quick on my feet. I was creative. I was good with deadlines. So all of these skills that I had amassed in the movie business were completely applicable in a totally different industry. And then those 13 years in education have made me good at my next phase of life. So now I'm producing a show with Trish, and I'm authoring a book, and all of the skills that I've acquired along the way, from the movie business, from teaching, from life skills, from parenting, they're all pieces of the puzzle, and they all end up being exactly what you need to get you exactly where you need to be. So although it may not look like it's a straight line, it's cyclical, and it does bring you back to exactly where you're supposed to be. And I'm proud of that. And I appreciate that this interview kind of brought that to light. You follow your happy, you follow your passion, and you're bound to end up exactly where you're supposed to be.
So in my interview with Jazz and Laura, I couldn't help but replaying a part of our conversation over and over again, which is when Jazz said, when you really want to be successful and you really want to, do something, you have to be obsessed about it. And the truth is that that was much easier for me to do when I was in my 20s and I didn't have a family than it is now. Because I suppose my children have kind of become an obsession of mine too, and having a happy and healthy family is definitely an obsession of mine, because I work so hard to, make it so that we can have a beautiful, happy home and a peaceful home together. So, but that doesn't mean that the other obsession goes away completely. It just means that, there is this give and take, and there is this switch of focus from time to time. So if you're at home and you're thinking, I used to be obsessed too, but now I have all these responsibilities, just know that it may take a little bit longer for those of us who really have to focus on our families because they are counting on us, but it doesn't mean that you don't have the time to also focus on your obsession. Whenever you can squeeze in that time, allow yourself to be obsessed with the things you love, and you will find so much fulfillment, even if those moments are far fewer than you had hoped. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Soul Seekers TV.
Like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yep, and share it, and also follow us on Instagram. And if you want to know any more information about us, about the show, about the experts we have on the show, or just take a look at all the resources that we have, go to our website, soulseekerstv.com.